Once again, we are continuing our solution to the BECE 2024 mathematics exams, objective test to be precise. We are looking at solving from question number 11 right to question number 20. But there is a mistake in question 2 that we need to correct. So with question 2, we are looking at Zalia Amina shared an amount of money in the ratio 2:5. If Amina had 150 cedis more than Zalia, how much did they share? So there are basically various ways you can solve this. The easiest of ways is to compare the difference in ratio to the amount that Amina had more, which is 5 minus 2, and that should be 3, and that should be equal to 150 cedis. And we are looking at how much they share. So our focus is rather on the total ratio, which is 7, and that's equal to the amount. So if you cross that out, 3x should be 7 times 150. So we divide through by 3, and x would be 350 Ghana cedi, which is the option D. That's one way of solving. Another way of solving, which is quite lengthy, is that we are looking at Amina having 150 cedis more than Zalia. So it means that if Zalia had X, Amina should have 150 more, which then becomes X plus 150. So from this, their total should be X, Zalia's share, plus Amina, which is X plus 150. And that should be 2X plus 150. So now, if you are taking the ratios, I can take 2, which is for Zalia, and that should be equal to X. And I can take 5, which is for Amina, and that should be X plus 150. If I cross multiply, I'm going to get 5X to be equal to 2 multiplied by X plus 150. So my 5X should be expanding 2X plus 300, 2 times X, 2X, 2 times 150, 300. So I group like them, 5X minus 2X should be 300. So 3X should be 300. Divide through by 3. And X should be 100. But the question is asking that I find how much the share. The total share is 2X plus 150. So that's 2 times. We subtract the value of X, which is 100, plus 150. And that's 200 plus 150. And that is giving us 350 Ghana cedis. And that is still option D. So that's the correction we have to make for question 2. Now, after making that correction, we proceed straight to question number 11 to question 20. So question number 11 to question 20. So with number 11, we are looking at Z. Root 75 plus root 18 minus root 27. So we need to understand clearly that if you have said you can only add if what is in the square roots are the same. But once what is in the square roots are not the same, we simplify or reduce the sets. What do we use to reduce the set? We look out for a perfect square or a square number that can divide the numbers in a set without a remainder. So if you look at 75, we can get 25 times 3. Then if you look at 18, we can get √9 times 2. Look at 27, we can get 9 times 3. So if you now have this, it can be √25 times √3 plus √9 times √2 minus √9 times √3. So 25 is 5 times √3 is 5 √3. And √9 is 3 times √2 is 3 √2. Same here, 3 √3. So if you have this 5 √3 and 3 √3, because what is in the square root are the same, we can subtract. And that should give us 2 √3. We only subtract the 5. We only do 5 minus 3. And that gives us 2 √3 plus 3 √2. So in that case, our answer is option B. And that is the solution for question number 11. So we can move on to question number 12. Question number 12. We have an angle. We are asked to find x. How then do we find x, the reflex angle? First, we would have to understand that once PQ and ST are parallel, if I should draw a line through this, that line is also parallel to PQ and parallel to ST as well. So the angle 35, the angle here should also be 35 because they are vertically opposite angles. And that 35 is also alternating with this, and they are equal. And 140, the angles here are on a straight line, so they add up to 180. So that angle should be 40. And then that angle 40 is also alternating with this angle, which is also 40. So at this point in time, the 35, the 40, and the x are angles that meet at a point, so they add up to 360. The 35 plus the 40 plus the x should sum up to 360. So 75 plus x is 360. So x is 360 minus 75. So x should be 285 degrees. And that is option D, the angle marked x. So question 12, the right answer is option D. We can now look at the question number 13. A hawker is carrying a basket load of 3 types of fruits: oranges, mangoes, and pears. If 2/5 of the fruits are oranges, 6 out of 25 mangoes, what percentage of the fruits are pear? So in this case, you can decide to find a percentage which are oranges and find a percentage which are mangoes. And then if you add a percentage which are pairs to it, it should be equal to total percentage in this situation, which is 100%, because all the fruits in the basket are 3. So that is one way you can solve this. So if I find a fraction you convert the fraction that are oranges to percentage, I am going to have 2 out of 5 times 100%, and that gives me 2 times 20, 40%. Then I convert the ones that are mangoes. 6 out of 25 times 100%. 25, yeah, 125, which is also 24%. So in that case, if the percentage that I pay is X, so we can look at 40% plus 24% plus the X, which stands for the percentage for pair, and that should be equal to 100%. So 64% plus X is 100%. So X is 100% minus 64%. So X should give us 36%. So 36% of the fruits are pear. We can decide to also add up the fractions that are mangoes to the fractions that are oranges. So whatever you get, subtract from 1, and then you find your answer in percentage. It will still land you at 36%. It's also a different way you can go around. Question number 13. Now we move on to question number 14, which is a graph question. We are asked to find the slope of the relation. The slope is the same as the gradient. So for you to find the gradient, you just have to get 2 points on the graph. So I can decide on connecting this to this. And the points under discussion are neck 1, 5. And then this is 2, neck 1. So if I have y2 minus y1, so neck 1 minus 5 out of 2 minus neck 1. And that is neck 6 out of 2 plus 1, which is 3. And my slope is neck 2. But you have to note one thing here. If your graph is slanted or sloped upwards towards the left, the slope is always negative. This slanted upwards towards the right, the slope is always positive. If it is vertical, it means that it has no slope. If it is horizontal, it means that the slope is 0. So note these 4 key terms so far as slope or gradient is concerned. Question number 14, the answer is -2. But to find the equation of the line. So to find the equation, we have our gradient to be -2. So if our gradient M is -2, and we are using y equals mx plus c, I can decide on using 1 point, which is I had neck 1, 5. It's one of the points with a gradient 2. So y 5, neck 2 for m, neck 1 for x. I use that to determine my c. Neck 2 times neck 1 is 2. 5 minus 2 is c. So our c is 3. So y should be equal to, the value of m is neck 2x plus c, which is 3. So the equation is neck 2x plus 3, which is option A for question number 15. Neck 2x plus 3, which is option A for question number 15. Now we move on to question number 16. Araba is 3 years younger than her sister. If the sum of their ages is 17, find Araba's share. Araba is 3 years younger. So it means that if you know her sister's age, you subtract 3 to get Araba's age. Or if you know Araba's age, you add 3 to get her sister's age. Either of the two ways should give you the same result. So we can let X be her sister's age. So Araba should be X minus 3, because she's 3 years younger. The sum of their ages, X plus X minus 3, should be 17. 2X should be 17 plus 3. 2X should be 20. Divide both sides by 2. X should produce the answer 10, which means that the 10 is for her sister's age. We are looking for Arabic age, which is minus 3 of her sister's age, and that should be 7. So Araba is 7 years old. We can now look at number 17. A number of oranges are shared among 50 students, and each bought 15 oranges. If the same number of oranges are shared among 30 students, how many would each student get? So the number of oranges that were shared among the 50 students, once each of them is getting 15, so 15, 15, 15, 50, we will know the number of oranges that were shared. Number of oranges that were shared become 15 times 50. And this same number of oranges, which is 15 times 50, is shared among 30. So we are sharing it among 30. So we can take this off. 3 here, 1, 3 here, 5, 5, 5, 25. So each of them is going to have 25 oranges. As simple as that. If the bearing of Q from P is 120, find the bearing of P from Q. So if you want to find the bearing of P from Q, when you have Q from P, that's termed the back bearing. So if the mean bearing is less than 180, you add 180 to the mean bearing to get the back bearing. If the mean bearing is less than 180, you subtract 180 from the mean bearing to get the back bearing. In this question, the mean bearing is less than 180. So all you have to do is to add 180 to the mean bearing, and your answer is 300 degrees, which is option C. This shouldn't take you long. Question number 19. You are supposed to find 2m plus n. This is the position vector. Vector m is 5 neg 1, vector n is neg 4, to find 2m plus n. So 2 times the vector m, which is 5 neg 1, plus the vector n, which is neg 4, 2. So a scalar 2 times the vector 5 neg 1, 2, 5 is 10, 2 neg 1 is neg 2, and we are adding that to neg 4, 2. So 10 plus neg 4 becomes 10 minus 4. Then we have neg 2 plus 2. And that should be 6, 0. And that is the result, 6, 0, which is option A. Question number 20. We have to solve 27 exponent m plus 1 over 3 exponent m plus 2. Okay, it's a nice question. So 27 should be 3 exponent 3. 27 should be 3 exponent 3. So 3 exponent 3, and we have m plus 1 out of 3 exponent m plus 2. And don't forget, once you are dividing, we subtract, keep one of the bases, then we subtract the exponent m plus 2. So this is going to be 3, expand 3m plus 3 minus m minus 2. And that's going to be 3 3m minus m is 2m. 3 minus 2 is also plus 1. So our answer is 3 exponents 2m plus 1, which is going to be our option D. Our option D. Option D is the answer. So that is it for question 11 to question 20. I am Seshi Frank Kwame, a teacher of Michelle Camp 2 GHS, a mathematics enthusiast. Michelle Camp 2 GHS is in the Kuong Katamansu Metro. Follow me on Facebook, Kwame Smart Hub, for exciting videos. Until then, shall meet again. Bye bye.